Absolutely. Although, I mean, I don't know much about sort of US history and British men wearing red coats. Would that be frowned upon? I'm not sure.
Welcome to My Gotta Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I sit down with our friend British Bulldawg. We talk through his most recent visit to Athens, his thoughts on the season thus far, and we answer questions from you, our listeners. As always, remember to check out the newly redesigned MyGottaPodcast.com to see our latest merch. And you can follow us on social media at MyGottaPodcast. Finally, we'd love for you to check out our presenting sponsor, Oxia Time, at OxiaTime.com. That's AXIATIME.com. Now, let's join the conversation in progress. I don't even know how to start with this one. We're back.
We're back. He's back. He's back across the pond.
Back across the pond.
Yeah.
We have the British Bulldawg back on my Gotta podcast again. Had a great time getting to see you in person again for me, Chris. First time for John. We couldn't make the in-person thing work out as far as recording, but I think actually spending time together was probably a better course of action anyway. It was great to see you last week, but welcome back to the pod.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me back. It was great to spend time together. John, meeting you in real life for the first time was a pleasure. It felt like getting the band back together. It was very easy. It was good to hang out.
It was fun. I was glad that Carter got to hang out as well.
Yeah, I think he's got a future in rugby.
We shall see. We shall see. I don't know. Although him throwing the football with Logan was hard to watch. He had an early start, a slow start to the catching of the footballs with Logan.
That's okay. I think my stone hands wore off on him because he was giving me
He was giving you fits.
He was giving me a hard time. Friday night he was throwing me the football in my parents' driveway, and like there were no lights and it was dark, and I kept dropping it. And he was like, "Come on, Mr. Jim, catch the ball." I was like, "I can't see the ball. It's too dark outside."
He was having a Kirby rage stroke in Lou's driveway.
Yeah, seriously.
Nice.
Well, yeah, it was great to have you. I mean, you had another like whirlwind weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I was able to. It was pretty fun when Lily and I were driving down to Georgia Friday morning. We were able to listen to you on the radio when you were on 960 with Logan and Dave. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. That was pretty fun.
But something I forgot to ask when I saw you, so I'll ask you now, was getting into the country easier this time? Because I remember you had some like customs issues last year.
Yeah, it was much easier. So it was 2 flights coming in, and I changed in Heathrow, so I didn't have to go through immigration in New York before the change. It's just this much easier.
Okay, good. I remember that was kind of an interesting hiccup on the way the first time.
Yeah, I was that guy running past people at security last time.
Yeah.
So you flew from Edinburgh to Heathrow, and then from Heathrow straight to Atlanta. Is that what I'm hearing?
Okay. Yeah, it was really, really easy. Mm-hmm.
So that's the move.
That's the move.
Yeah. And then I guess just in general, right? Entirely. I know, look, you did some things similarly in general and saw some of the same people, but I imagine just in general, it was still different, if nothing else, just from like time of day for a kickoff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a huge difference from a nooner to a night game. And I guess that probably kind of changes the entire weekend too for you.
Yeah, I mean, the whole atmosphere around game day is completely different for that evening kickoff. I mean, for a starter, getting to tailgate properly and actually spend time speaking with people and getting to know them and having a few drinks, it was really fun. And then going into the stadium at nighttime with the lights on, you sort of you walk through at the ground level and you just look up and you can see all of the lights shining down on you. You can see all of the crowd hyped up and ready to go. It was completely different.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's funny, like we're getting like all the night games this year after not having them. It has been fun to get back to them. I know John and I always joke because like I prefer the 3:30. John, I know you like the night game. I like them both. But the 7 p.m. it does make for a long day.
Yeah, you've got to pace yourself. I'm glad that I did.
For what it's worth, I feel like that Ford, and I feel like haven't we had a 6 o'clock kickoff in the past as well?
Mm-hmm.
Like that 4 to 6 o'clock time frame is like just absolutely perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because 7 does make for a late night. And the late night, particularly when you're up in the wind with the cold swirling winds. It was brutal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Chris, you were down lower than us. Was it? Yeah. Did you get cold too, or was that an upper deck problem for us?
No, I mean it got a bit chilly. I had my my sweatshirt on towards the second half, but it was okay. You forget I live in Scotland, so the weather was pretty nice for me.
Okay, fair.
That's funny. You also had that epic sweatshirt that I saw, like that. Mm-hmm. I got to see that one live and in person too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was nice to see everyone complimenting you on that sweatshirt. I felt Jim appreciated that.
Yeah, it's a great sweatshirt. It's from a website here called National Vintage League, who specialize in sort of procuring vintage football memorabilia. So as soon as I saw that, I just knew I had to snap it up. It's like a 1980 original Parting Bulldogs sweatshirt.
Yeah, oh, wow. That thing is sweet. Like it's a unique sweatshirt. Like I've never seen it.
No,
it's a good conversation starter too. Like, where'd you get that?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it confuses people when I say I got it in the UK.
Yeah, seriously. And I know I jumped ahead and kind of got into your atmosphere. I mean, so you come in Thursday. I think you had, I know my dad enjoyed getting to have lunch with you again. So that was cool. And then I did just want to get your reaction to Hard Grit Library because I felt like that was pretty amazing. And I actually just now that I mentioned that, I have some pictures I need to send you. I think I have some pictures that I didn't send to you. So I got a couple of pictures of you with some of the artifacts that I'm not sure I sent to you. So I'll make sure to fix that.
Yeah, please. No, that was one of the highlights of my trip. Jason is so knowledgeable and talks about what he works with real passion. It was amazing to be able to sort of touch living history. It was something I'd recommend to anyone who's coming into Athens for a weekend.
Yeah, agreed. It was it lived up to what I was hoping. I would say it surpassed.
Yeah,
for me, just getting to see all that history and I don't know, see it up close. Some of it being able to actually like touch it and hold it, not all of it, depending on what the artifact was, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and you guys are now part of history too.
I know that was kind of crazy. Well, I wasn't prepared for that part. Yeah. I knew the words would be there. Didn't realize it would be on the wall like that. That was pretty cool.
That's very cool.
So let's see. So we did the tailgate. Oh, I guess like apologies for we needed like scooters or something as we like marched you across campus on Saturday, but I think hopefully it wasn't too far of a walk.
You need to burn off some of that alcohol with a day drinking from like 9:30 in the morning for a game at 7. So absolutely fine with a walk.
Yeah. Figured you could get some non-studio time in with Logan and go over by his tailgate. So that was fun.
Yeah. He had some good food as well.
Yes.
Yeah, he did. And it was much needed at that time, I feel like, because I was starting to get quite famished. Peckish, if you will.
Yeah. Although I must say the sort of the tailgate that we went to, Greg and Rojo, was out of this world. Absolutely incredible. A live band, a whole hog. That was.
Have you ever had a whole hog?
Not like that. No. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah. That's like a distinctly Southern thing, I feel like, but yeah. You definitely aren't going to see too many whole hogs with the UGA helmets.
Yeah, it was sweet. The live band was that kind of put it over the top for me. That was excellent. And I don't, I think we said it, but I don't recall ever being on a North Campus tailgate with a live band like that. That was pretty sweet. Where were you in the game? Because you were in lower level, right?
104.
Okay. Cool. Nice.
You had pretty good seats.
Yeah, they were good seats. Yeah, they were quite close to the Kentucky fans. But for the most part, they were quite quiet during that game.
Nice. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're down in that. Okay. And that you probably wait. Now I'm trying to even remember. They had their band there, right? Were you kind of close over to their band a little bit?
I didn't hear that band, if I'm honest.
Okay, maybe they weren't even there. Now I'm trying to remember. But yeah, over there, the blue in the corner. That's funny. I didn't think about that.
They're usually right over in the corner, which I believe that his seats were kind of closest to that area. So
yeah, you just hear the Redcoats.
Yeah, you just hear the Redcoats.
They didn't have much to. They didn't have much to play about, I guess. When did you go in? Because I know you had which I guess kind of embarrassing, but like I have no shame, and I totally like walked behind the camera during your interview with Allison on WSB, because I know that was not too long before kickoff. But so were you able to get in and see all the pregame stuff again?
Yes, yeah. So we saw all of the sort of pageantry that goes with the sort of pregame. So it was really perfect timing.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Yeah. I mean, now you're an old pro, right? So you knew what you wanted to get into this stadium for.
Have you become pen pals with Allison at this point?
I think we're Twitter friends.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, that's awesome. I've got the recording, but I think you ended up having. I think you had the whole thing, right?
Yeah. I might actually record it on my phone, but it's too long to put out on Twitter, so I'm kind of hoping that Alison might put it out at some point.
Got it. Nice. Yeah, that was cool. I sent a screenshot to my sister to make sure, because there was another point, like where you guys were doing the interview is kind of where our kind of group was just kind of standing out. I told my sister, I was like, hey, you ended up on TV. She was like just like standing there in the side. It was pretty funny. Oh man. Yeah, that was cool. It was a good feature too. I enjoyed watching that on Saturday. I'm glad you texted about that. Cause I didn't have it like on until you sent that. And so I was able to get it on.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. It was one of the last features on the show. So they sort of teased it a few times.
Yes. I remembered, because last year I watched like the whole thing and I kept yelling at the TV because they kept teasing it. I was like, come on, like, what are you going to show? Oh yeah, that was good. I liked how they were able to like merge kind of the two, like show some footage from last year too. And everything in there was cool. I thought they did a good job with that.
It was really well done. I even sent it to my mother-in-law who also enjoyed it.
Awesome. Love it. So the game itself though. So I guess like all the differences, right? So it's like night game as opposed to day game. Top 25 matchup as opposed to like MAC team, but then also the inverse of what you would think there is that like the Kent State game was actually closer than this game, so it was a completely different experience for you. I don't know. So I guess what was your take on the game itself with it? I mean, I know. I think in general, most of us felt like Georgia was capable of doing that, but I think most people were kind of picking it to be a closer game.
Yeah, well, I certainly thought it was going to be a close game. So it was great to see how easy they made it look. It was the game we had been waiting for all season, where they put everything together and just showed that class is forever. Form is maybe temporary, they're still winning. So it was a great game to come and see.
Yeah. I did
SEC matchup that night, and you saw that kind of beat down. So I don't know. Yeah. I think you need to come back for every game now. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't make the rules.
No, I will need somebody to sponsor me to do that. But if I could, I'd be there.
We need the I know, like I think 100 Sanford was throwing it out there that you need the British Airways NIL deal or something like that.
There we go.
I know that Virgin do direct flights from Edinburgh now. So yeah, it's a dream that they might listen at some point and give me some flights.
Love it. Love it. So, okay, I have a question on like this happening in sporting events in general. So like something that you probably noticed is with the score so lopsided after the fourth quarter light show, a lot of people started to head for the exits.
Yes.
Beat the traffic, get out of there. Is that a uniquely American sporting thing, or like do folks do that?
Okay. I don't think so. Especially if it's not a tight game. From my perspective, as my sort of time is limited, I wanted to experience every moment of that. So I made sure that we're staying there to the bitter end and we're seeing everything.
Yeah, cool. That's it. We did the same for what it's worth.
Yeah, we were up there, freezing our tickets off, and yeah, that's definitely something. But no, I can definitely say that as a watcher of football on the Premier League, the cameras have many times panned to the fans exiting the stadiums in a lopsided win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is my fault for not watching enough Premier League to know the answer to my own question. Sorry.
I feel like it's one of those things that just transcends sports, just the utter disdain and disgust at your team when they're performing badly to just leave.
Right. So, but how was the so the last time, so what we would have done fourth quarter, Krypton fanfare, but a little bit different with the all the flashlights on everyone's phones. That was the first time you had to experience that. How'd you enjoy the light show and the fourth quarter display?
Yeah, I mean, it's indescribable. It's very cool just to be immersed in all of that. It's kind of takes your breath away.
Yeah. It's cool too because it's something that happened kind of organically, when it first started happening with the light up Sanford, and then when they added the stadium lights to it, it just kind of enhanced it a bit. But it was already going on before, so
was it Notre Dame or something a few years ago now? Yeah,
it was. That was the first time those the lights were like unveiled. That was the first time they got to use them. So haven't been able to use them for a while though, so that was good. Until this season.
It's only better to experience it in person than on TV. It's completely different.
Yeah, agreed. What are just your thoughts on the season, Chris? Back to back national champions. We're still undefeated. How are you feeling now that we're more than halfway through at this point?
Yeah, well, we're 7-0 at this point. It's a different team to last year and the year before, but they're finding their own identity. And as we saw against Kentucky, they're pretty good. They're undefeated. They've beaten away everything that's come towards them. This can only be good for them. You spoke before about sort of manufacturing adversity.
My God, we need to put a TM. We need to put a TM on manufactured adversity. Print the shirts, Jim.
They've certainly experienced some adversity, manufactured or not, and I think it can only be good for these sort of younger players who have been the backups, last year and the year before, to have that responsibility to experience all of that and come back stronger. And I think the sort of the bye week has come at the perfect time.
Yeah, for sure. I think what Kirby said something like here, a bye week never comes at a bad time, but this is certainly a good one with all the injuries. And we did see it was on, we try not to share like subscriber only Dog Central information, but Graham did put this out on Twitter that he's hearing that Brock was advised to do that tightrope surgery on his ankle / foot. But we'll see. Sounds like no final decision until Tuesday. So I guess for you watching, I know when we had you on the first time, we asked you who your favorite player was, and you said Brock. I mean, what was that feeling when we saw him go down and slam in the turf?
Yeah, you could tell it was bad when he was sort of punching the ground.
Yeah.
But I think his toughness is often underestimated. He's played a lot of football, and this is the first time that we've seen him like this. So I've got every faith that we will see him again.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a matter of when, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully sooner than later, but best wishes out to out to Mr. Bowers.
Hopefully
he doesn't.
Seriously, hopefully we get him back.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get him back soon.
Don't say hopeful. I'm just kidding.
I mean, you know that Kirby's going to drop a hopeful out there.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to check the press conference notes. That'll 100% be in there.
Yeah.
JP, did you want to get into some of your topics?
So obviously, one of the things that I haven't heard you discuss, you talked about the experience multiple times, but like, whiskey, like you had a plethora of whiskeys that you had an opportunity to go through. And matter of fact, you brought one from Scotland to kind of give us. Can you kind of give us a rundown of the British Bulldog whiskey experience?
So yeah, I bought a bottle of Arran with me, which was a really nice sort of entry-level whiskey. It sets you back about £40 here. I don't know if you can get it in the US, but it's from the island, or the Isle of Arran. It's just off the west coast of Scotland. It's very smooth, very tasty. It's generally a bit of a crowd pleaser, and it was it was great to be able to raise a glass with you guys. I think you kind of liked that one.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I think it was finished in bourbon barrels too, right?
Yeah, maybe. I may not be 100% accurate. I'm not sure what it's finished in. It certainly tastes like it's finished in bourbon. Barrels. That's kind of quite common that you might go from like a bourbon barrel or sometimes like a sherry cask or something like that, and that's kind of when you get that combination of depth of flavor.
It was a good one. I've got a good picture of us all raising our glass.
So. I would like to see that picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will send that one for sure. Yeah. Apparently I did a poor job of sharing my pictures with you, Chris. I will fix that.
Yeah, it looks like you can get it. Looks like you can get it online here in the US. I don't know if you can get it at like a Total Wine or whatever, but yeah, there's a number of different ones too. It looks like they've got some that get quite pricey.
Yes, yeah, I think that's just the Arran 10, which is like the entry level, but they do increase.
Yeah, there's a Arran 21.
Ooh.
So I know we also had not opened right now, but we've got, for those that are watching on the YouTube, I'm holding up a bottle that Chris, you shared with John and I. Mm-hmm. So this is the Cotswolds single malt whiskey. So
yeah, it's actually an English whiskey. Kind of representative of myself, having been born and raised in England, but now living in Scotland for the last 11 years. It's actually delicious. It's a really nice whiskey, very smooth, kind of like toffee flavors to it. One of my sort of go-to pours.
Nice.
So when you gave that to us, I had like the immediate thought of like, I'm going to open this right now and drink it kind of thing. But then like, as the day wore on and as thoughts gathered, I thought about drinking it as a celebratory after the game. But then I was so tired and didn't want to do it, as Jim can attest. So I kind of arrived at, Jim, that I'm going to kind of save that for a special occasion.
Nice.
Perhaps at the end of the season. We can hop on Zoom.
Yes. Oh, that'd be amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, me and John did have a sort of FaceTime call after the national championship win in January.
Yes.
You were smoking a cigar, enjoying the victory.
That's the plan. That's the plan again.
I missed out on that one because I was walking around LA in the rain with my sister. Apologies.
You were walking around in the flooded stadium.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That was a little crazy. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I will say we debated the Vanderbilt preview. I did ask John. I was like, should we drink this for this one? And we decided to table it and wait for a later occasion. Nice. Something bigger than previewing Vanderbilt,
Well,
exactly. Exactly. That was exactly my thought. Something bigger.
Didn't
So aside from the Cotswolds and the Aaron, like, did you have any bourbon that you particularly enjoyed
Now,
on
what
the
was the
whiskey front?
very prestigious bourbon that we enjoyed, John?
there
Can you remember
Uh,
Oak Dogs tailgate?
oh, the Elmer T. Lee.
Yeah, I mean that was quite nice.
That was really good. Yeah, shout out to Hug Dog. That was a good pour. I don't know if he brought that, but someone had that whiskey out, and I was like, I've never had this before, and it was quite
Yeah,
nice.
it was popular.
Yes. He also had the biggest bottle of Eagle Rare I think I've ever seen
Yeah,
in my life as well.
yeah.
I've seen big bottles before, but that one was particularly big.
He's living the dream.
Yeah, seriously. So you like the Elmer T. Lee. Was there any other whiskeys that were of note that you felt like you had that were
I can't even remember what else I did have. But it all went down pretty nicely.
right?
There was quite the spread on the table.
Mhm. Oh yeah,
And I think we made sure to get you some creature comforts too. The
Yeah.
the Classic City Lager.
yeah, that's good. And I like the baller that Jim brought as well.
Oh yeah, the baller beer. That's a good beer. That's a good
Yeah.
beer. Yeah, that's from a local North Carolina brewery over here, right? But not too far from our house. For the Kannapolis Cannonballers. So they're the minor league baseball team, just up the road from me. So
It was good.
No, that's pretty cool. And is it easy enough to get tickets to one of their games?
oh yeah, yep. I actually have not been. So I'm even forgetting what their name was. They basically rebranded and changed their name and everything and got a new stadium. And I have not been to the new one, unfortunately. I need to rectify that. We keep talking about going there. My Lily's been to a game there,
Nice.
but I have not been yet. We actually have two different minor league teams pretty close to us. So
okay. I love the branding around these teams. Is it the Savannah Bananas that are just like blowing up?
yes, they're amazing. They're kind of becoming almost like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball at this point. Because I think like they were just like a kind of standard minor league team, but now the show has gotten so big, I guess you would say. It's been kind of crazy the way they've blown up. So I've got a good friend who does turf. He's a turf guy in baseball. So I get all my details from him.
Nice.
All right. Chris, I do think that we should highlight something for you and me because early on in the tailgate, I flashed up a score to you that we were already down 1-0, or you flashed a score up that Man U was down 1-0 within like 5 minutes of the tailgate.
Yeah.
We joked about not wanting to bring the soccer on the tailgate, but that was particularly low. However, they ended up pulling that game out.
Yeah, two games in extra time, 2 goals in extra time. Crazy.
Yeah, it was like Fergie time was back, and Scott McTominay. I can't believe that he scored. I can't believe he scored both of those goals.
He's for a big occasion.
Oh man, that was crazy. But also, that's a sad season. It's also, I feel like it's a parlay for those of you that are maybe taking this period of UGA football for granted. That these are the good old days. Chris and I are currently on the downswing of what once was the good old days, and now we're in a long period of like this isn't the best of times.
You've got to enjoy the good times while you can.
Exactly. We had a legendary coach. We're currently with a legendary coach at UGA, like based on all the numbers and metrics and all the streaks and stuff are historic. So it's definitely one of those things that we're going to have to relish, because at some point all good things come to an end, right?
Yeah. But hopefully not anytime.
Yeah, this is never going to end.
It's never going to
end. I waited my whole life for this. And that's where we say Munsoning is dead and the things like that, right? And I think, part of that for me is just like, what am I going to gain from it at this point? Like I spent way too much time worrying about that kind of stuff, and Kirby we trust. So I'm gonna trust the coaches and these players in this program to. Yeah, I feel like I enjoy it more now without worrying about so much stuff anymore. I don't know.
That is nice. Even sort of going behind on the weekend, I don't think any of us were particularly worried.
Exactly. Yeah, you get down and you're just like, they'll turn it around. They're going to figure it out. John, I think you actually texted that, like, they'll figure it out.
Yeah. I feel like that my wife and kids are like, when Vandy scored, like Carter was yelling down because he was watching upstairs and I was downstairs, and he yelled down, "Dad, Vandy just scored. We're going to lose." Like, it'll be all right, buddy.
Yeah.
And that was the same thing on a previous game as well. They're like, "Are we going to lose this game?" Like, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that Jim and I were texting about earlier, because like, when we just did the review episode, right, for Vandy, and after we talked about the streaks and the historic streak that they're on. So you got the USC teams from the early 2000s and the Miami teams from the early 2000s that had really good teams and streaks, and UGA is right behind them and could potentially overtake Miami this year for number 2. But I went back and looked at some of that stuff, and even those teams, granted they definitely blew out teams, but they also struggled at times with some lesser opponents. So like, it's not something that I feel like we should look at as like, oh my God, we're terrible, that kind of thing, because even great teams struggle from time to time. But yeah, it's just one of those things that they're working through themselves, and we're kind of at year 3, right? We're at year 3 of the streak being alive, and those teams started struggling.
They say the sign of a great team is not playing your best but still winning, which is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, it's the kinds of games where when you think back before this run started, like especially like the Auburn game, like that Auburn game with that start, that's one where other teams in the past, you feel like maybe that kind of snowballs and you end up losing, but not this team, so.
Right. And if you look at like the success rate, that's what Jim and I were talking about as well, was just like, I feel like that the best metric that kind of encapsulates how I felt about the season thus far is the success rate. Like, we look at some of these games and it's like we feel like we haven't been struggling, and the success rate is part of the reason why, because they're doing so well that on paper it may not feel that way, but the successfulness of each of their plays as a net has been pretty positive.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Chris, we do have some questions that some listeners sent in. People want to know things and get some questions answered from the British Bulldog, if you're cool with that.
Yeah, good to go.
All right. So first up, we got our buddy 51-7 GATA. He said, "What does Chris think of the amount of TV timeouts during a football game, especially comparing it to soccer?" And he said, "Personally, I can't stand this guy and how it slows the game down, LOL," which he said he included a picture of the guy with the red hat who's holding up the clock.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is obviously something that you don't really experience when you're at home. So that is kind of new to see that. And it was becoming increasingly frustrating towards the end of the game. However, they have a million different ways of keeping you entertained in those breaks. So I wasn't complaining. I think there was a karaoke sing-along at one point, which I thought was brilliant.
I love it.
I feel like I missed the thing that Scott Duvall talks about where you can do the selfie or whatever. I must have missed that one.
I could never get a phone signal when that's happening. It's obviously thousands and thousands of people trying to do the same thing at the same time.
Yeah. My niece got on it one game, and like the one game that I didn't go to. So Ball State, she was able to get on it. I never got it to work. Kentucky game. I got like through the QR code UAB game, but we didn't make it on the Jumbotron. So, all right, let's see. John Michael D would love to know what y'all thought of the documentary on that one guy who married a Spice Girl. think he had a great run at Man City back in the day.
That is very funny. That made me laugh. That's a David Beckham documentary that's on Netflix right now. I saw that question and I've been meaning to watch it for a little while. So I had a look at it last night, and I think it's like 1 hour and a half episodes. It's quite a lot. So I've not made a dent in it yet. I've seen a few clips. David Beckham was a hero to me back in the day. I remember that goal he scored against Wimbledon at the start of the season in 1995, 1996, where he scored from the halfway line. So I'd be very interested to watch that documentary when it comes around to it.
Yeah, dude. If you're a Man United supporter, it's definitely going to be comfort food. Again, it's kind of like watching, fast forward 20, 30 years from now, it'll be like us watching the UGA, the UGA run here, the Kirby Smart run. Maybe Stetson Bennett. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who. Stetson Bennett probably doesn't do David Beckham justice, but I'm trying to think of who would be the most corollary of David Beckham in this group right now. But
I mean, is it Brock Bowers?
Could be Brock.
Maybe. I'll have to think about that. I don't know. I should have thought about that ahead of time. I just thought about that. Who would be the corollary of that? But yeah, dude, that Beckham documentary is fantastic. It also gave a lot of insights into just the relationship between him and Victoria, which kind of like answered a lot of unsettling questions that I had from the past about like why he made certain decisions. Like, I don't know if I know Jim's probably like, he's like, you're speaking Mandarin Chinese right now. But like his whole departure from the club, right? Like, she was a big part of it, and there was a little bit of explanation going on some of that stuff too. So, yeah, man, it was really well done. As many things that Beckham has been involved in, it was quite nicely structured.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, so I know this question wasn't for me, but I do want to watch it. I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it also kind of it gives you a rundown of a lot of things that are outside of Manchester United as well. So, like, for instance, I didn't realize this, Chris, and maybe you haven't seen these clips, but like he brought in everyone. Like he brought in Luis Figo, Roberto Carlos. He brought in oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the guy. The guy that he got the red card on from Argentina.
Simeone.
Yeah, Diego Simeone. He had Simeone on talking about it. They interviewed him as well. So like it brought in a lot of stuff. It was very interesting.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next up, this question comes with some inside sources because these are from Dwight.
Yeah.
Any chance of a return trip for the SEC championship game and/or CFP?
Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely love that. If I could, I would. I would need to raise funds because I can't afford that trip right now. But yeah, that'd be a dream come true. Dwight, as some people know, has been my fixer, my main man for some of these trips. So without his help, some of the experiences that I've had wouldn't have happened. But yeah, I would be there in a heartbeat if I could be.
Nice. He said, for your return trip in 2024, any interest in leading the Redcoats at the end of the game?
Yeah, absolutely. Although, I mean, I don't know much about sort of US history and British men wearing red coats. Would that be frowned upon? I'm not sure.
That was great.
Fair. Tough but fair. Good question.
Tough but fair, yeah.
Oh, amazing. I love that. Too good.
Hey, speaking of, how is it watching the NFL games with the American flag waving and forcing everybody to sing the national anthem that's literally about beating the British?
Yeah, Britain has a long history of colonizing different countries, so we're kind of okay with that at this point. And I noticed that they bring out both flags, don't they? They bring out both the US flag and the Union Jack and sing both national anthems at those games.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw a meme about that. Like the most American thing ever is bringing our flag to England and forcing them to sing in the national
Uh, let's see. Did you get through security with the chalice you smuggled out of the Hargret Library?
Yeah, I don't know where that rumor has come from. Did you get to see the chalice, John?
I did not. I was late. I was a late arrival, so that's going to be something else I can look forward to the next time I visit the
Yeah,
library.
this isn't going to help my cause, but it's disappeared after my tour.
He said
Too
he put
funny.
it back in the vault, so I have on-site sources that confirm that it is in their possession.
Good,
That is
good.
I can't confirm.
Unless you pulled like a Harrison Ford like swap, you like
Replace the real chalice with the fake chalice.
exactly.
I am interested in this one as well. What did you think of the Vortex? So that was your Friday night meal, right before the concert?
Yeah, so it was Friday night before the Girls with Guitars concert in Atlanta. I liked it. I love it's a big like skull, isn't it? As you go in the doorway, very cool. I love the whole thing there.
Yeah,
That's a classic Atlanta burger. Did you get the Elvis?
No, I got some like barbecue kind of sauce burger. I'm not sure what it was called. It's very good.
awesome. Well, while we are on that wraps up the questions for Dwight. But I know that you mentioned Dwight was kind of your guy on both these trips and helped a lot of the experience. And I know you've kind of changed up your t-shirt a bit for the month of October. Let the folks know what's going on there.
Yeah, so I've been very, very lucky with the generosity of people. For those that don't know, that the way that I funded my first trip was by selling T-shirts that said Cheerio and Go Dogs, and I raised enough money to buy flights for my last trip and actually this one just here as well for flights alone.
Yeah,
and I kind of thought, I have been lucky and people have been generous. I should really give something back, particularly as I've sort of been supported by Dwight as well, who has some involvement in the charity Bulldogs battling breast cancer. We had it in mind to bring out this charity T-shirt. So I've taken mine off the market for now for the month of October, so we can release a limited edition shirt, a full Bulldogs battling breast cancer with the Cheerio Go Dogs slogan, with all the profits going to the charity rather than me.
that's pretty awesome. That's pretty sweet. So yeah, head over to you can just go on to bulldogsbattlingBreastCancer.com.
Yeah,
I believe to check those out on there. Awesome. That's really cool. Let's see. All right, we'll continue. We got Brett Belding. So for you specifically, Chris, what was the most memorable part of your most recent trip to Athens?
The thing is, I managed to fit in a lot in a small space of time. Actually, sort of earlier today, in preparation for this, I wrote down everything that I did, and wow. I can't believe how much I did in 4 days.
Yeah.
And that sort of the Hargret Library tour was definitely a highlight, and having that opportunity to touch history was incredible. For me, the sort of the lasting memory, and I mentioned this earlier, was that feeling of walking into the stadium at nighttime, looking up, seeing all of the lights above you, but the huge crowds of people who are clearly ready for an exciting game. And that's a sort of lasting memory that sort of sticks with me, just that like wow factor as you go in and it all like opens out in front of you.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I love it. Okay. And then he said for all three of us, I mean, I am not well traveled, but what's the most exotic place you have visited and why? And why did?
I like to travel. Quite lucky that there's a lot of different things on my doorstep. For me, probably the most exotic place I've ever been to was India. So I went to India a few years ago. That is like a completely different culture. Amazing, but everything is crazy compared to sort of your own standards. You sort of look one way, look the other way, and there's something mad going on. It's an amazing place.
Where did you go in India?
I went to Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, and then I flew across to Goa for a few days as well. Okay. So I got to see all the sort of main sites of Taj Mahal and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That is on my bucket list. I've worked with so many people that live in India over my career. And so I actually have a bunch of friends over there. Nice. And I've met some of them in person, like when they were able to travel here, and every time I meet someone for the first time, they're like, you have to come back here. You have to come to India. Yeah. So I've got some friends that I still plan to go see over there. So that's on my to-do list. Haven't made it there yet.
Nice.
John, do you have any exotic places you traveled to?
I do. I guess the most exotic place that I've visited is Belize. I went. Okay. I spent a week in Belize chasing a girl. She worked. She worked at. It's actually a girl from UGA, actually. But that was a long time ago. Pre meeting my wife, pre kids, all that stuff. It was a different.
Obviously.
Lifetime ago. Yeah,
obviously, that was a good clarifying point.
But she worked at some. I actually stayed on the island that they take like the cruises and stuff. Like there's a lot of cruises that go on down there, right? And so like they take you out to these different islands to do excursions and stuff.
Yeah.
And the island that she stayed on was for the Hugh Parkey Belize dive experience, and she lived there and worked there as a dolphin trainer. And I got like,
what's that? You followed a girl in Belize who was a dolphin trainer.
Yeah, it was really weird. It was a lifetime ago, but yeah, they had these little over water cabanas and stuff, and so I stayed in one of those cabanas. Wow. It was amazing. It was one of the coolest experiences traveling that I've done. Got the behind the scenes dolphin experiences and all that stuff. That was really cool. Swam with like 5 different dolphins. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Good. I don't know. I mean, Kim and I went to Jamaica for our honeymoon. Now we were generally like resort type stuff, but what I will say is just like when we would leave and we're just go driving, like riding from one place to the next and everything, that was what was actually kind of like the most interesting and most exotic stuff, I guess you would see, when you're away from the resort and just getting to be out on the island and see everything. That was pretty cool. So I'll go with that. Although we did like a horseback ride, like down from an old plantation, like kind of down the countryside, down to the ocean. So that was pretty cool, and rode the horses in the ocean. That was interesting.
Oh, nice.
So I'll go with that. And it was actually like English saddle, Chris, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was not a Western saddle. So I'll go with that. Okay. Actually, there's actually late breaking news to go with this next one. Oh, John, were you about to say something?
No.
Okay, sorry. Hushton Rich, who was at the tailgate, he said, if Brock is out for an extended time, is Chris available to take a few reps at the tight end position?
Yeah, of course. Throw me in.
I think your skills would be better suited for long snapper with the way that I saw you tossing the rugby ball around with Carter.
Listen, I will do whatever is needed for me. I'm a team player, so if that call comes, I'm on that plane.
Love it. Hey, I mean, technically you've got 4 years of eligibility remaining, I'm pretty sure. So I think we can make that happen.
Yeah.
You just be like Brett Thorson.
Yeah. I saw there is one team that has an English guy as a kicker, and I think he's in his like early 30s. He's married with kids and stuff. So there is hope for everyone.
Man, yeah, there needs to be like a Pro Kick UK to rival the Pro Kick Australia.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's an opportunity here, Chris.
I'm going to start it and engineer a move to Georgia.
Yeah, there we go.
I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the breaking piece is it sounds like Brock Bowers is going to have surgery. So he's going to have surgery on that ankle to stabilize it, but a full recovery is anticipated. So we'll see how long that takes, but should get him back at some point in the season.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Back to back, Broham. Chris, what was your favorite play of the game, and why? And why was it the rah-rah toe tap? Can't wait for the pod.
Yeah, I caught that one on camera, and it was an amazing catch. I actually wasn't sure if it was in or if it was out. And I think we all felt the same way. But that was pretty special. That's some skill right there.
That was a heck of a catch. And as John, what was it you said that there's a reason he's wearing they put him at number 5?
Yeah,
can't disagree with that.
Yep. Aside from the fact that was his number, I think previously, but
come on, John.
Yeah, it's good to see players like him and Lovett sort of coming into their own now.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's becoming that clutch guy.
Mm-hmm.
In order to give you the full experience, Chris, of being on My God podcast this go around, I'm going to do this.
Okay.
Even on the bye week, we've got some stuff from Coach Trillbill. So we're not doing coaches over unders, but as there is no game. But he did send us some bye week either ors. So this would basically be: would you rather do? You have to just pick which one you would rather do, one or the other. So starting off on the bye week, would you rather go to the apple orchard or to the pumpkin patch?
Maybe the pumpkin patch.
Pumpkin patch.
It's coming to that. Yeah.
Nice. Is that how over how many pumpkin patches are there in your area?
There is a few. It tends to be something that's like a good day out with children. It's obviously nowhere near as big as it is for you guys. Halloween in general isn't a huge deal in the UK. But culture does tend to sort of drift across, and it's becoming bigger.
Got it. I'm going to go apple orchard because I haven't been to the apple orchard yet, and I need to go get. And the one that I go to is the one that John went to, and I need some donuts.
I tried to replicate those donuts; it did not end well. So I recommend going and getting them from the source.
Amazing.
I'm a pumpkin patch person myself, but that's only because the pumpkin patch we go to is literally right down the road from Amicalola Falls, and there's a big hotel there that has a basement that has a beautiful scenery with a fireplace that they've added over the years, and we just go and hang out there. Matter of fact, we ran into a number of Georgia fans that had done the same thing. Just hanging out down there on the patio. And I thought about having that Cotswolds there as well.
Nice.
I ended up just having regular whiskey though.
Yeah. Well, that sounds nice.
All right. Would you rather have either or apple cider or hot chocolate? What's your go-to?
So would that apple cider be alcoholic, first of all?
Oh my gosh, Chris just asked a clarifying question. Chris, you belong in the podcast.
One of us.
Oh, too good. I would say, this is where we get to say, hey, it's our podcast. We can do whatever we want. So if you want alcohol in it, Chris, there's alcohol in it.
Yeah. Do you guys have like mulled wine and mulled cider at Christmas?
No,
I've had it at a few family functions. Yes, I've had it. But I feel like it's probably not the same as what you've had. Are you talking about where they make the cider with like brandy and stuff?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's very much a British thing, mulled wine and also mulled cider. So it's like a warm alcoholic drink with like sometimes brandy, different sort of spices that go in it. It's a nice sort of like winter warmer. So if I could have one of those, I'm going to have one.
I would say if you enjoy that, you should probably look up a recipe for a hottie toddy to have for the Ole Miss game, because it sounds similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go apple cider. This time of year, I'd say is apple cider. Later, like November, December, I'd move into the hot chocolate. But I'll go apple cider for a bye week.
I'm gonna have to go cider on this one. I would agree with Jim on that.
Okay.
This time of year, it's cider.
Agreed. Okay, either or Weller or Macallan.
Well, that's a good question. I've not tried enough Weller to have formed an opinion. Macallan is internationally known as a sort of a Scotch brand. It's very good, but maybe a little bit overpriced. So for the ability to try something new, I'm going to go for the Weller.
Nice. I don't know what I'm getting into with Macallan, so I'm a risk averse person, so I'm gonna say Weller.
I'm gonna say Weller as well. Generally speaking, you can't buy Weller off the shelf, but you can buy a lot of Macallan off the shelf.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Either or, watching Bama lose or watching Tennessee lose.
It's always good to see both of them lose.
Yes.
Push.
I do remember, Chris, when we talked before, well, when we talked on the podcast before, we were talking through kind of like biggest rival. And I know for your perspective, like you do see that as more of an Alabama, right? From your Georgia experience.
Yeah. And that's still the case. I think I'd prefer to see Alabama lose. Even this year, there's still that chance that they can, be a good football team. So if I can see them lose a couple more games, I'll be quite happy.
Yeah. It's weird because I think I'm actually kind of leaning Alabama here, but 20 years ago, I never would have thought I would have said something like that. Because back then, we didn't think of Alabama as a rival. We hardly ever played them. But with the way it's going recently, and the way for things to set up, I'm gonna go Bama too. What about you, JP?
I'm a Bama lose person right here because Tennessee hasn't quite gotten to the level that they were back in the 90s or whatever. Like I feel like that they're still kind of hovering around that, so it's not quite as annoying. But the Bama folks are still annoying. I think that one more step towards pushing Grandpa off the cliff, kind of thing. would be nice, because as we talked about before, like the good old times, I feel like that Bama is on the downswing of their good old times, because that is going to be a difficult person to replace.
Big shoes to fill.
For sure. All right, so either or, for something to do in the bye week, would you rather watch the 2021 national championship or the 2022 national championship?
21.
Yeah. Now that I know the result as well, definitely.
Yeah. You can't top the Keely Ringo pick six, I feel like.
Yeah.
Demons be gone.
Demons be gone.
Beat that.
Yeah. While the blowout was quite fun to watch, agreed. Knowing the result, I'll go with the roller coaster. Knowing the end result of 2021. Okay, so now I'm also interested in this one, Chris, on your perspective here. Cocktail party debate. Stay in Jacksonville or go home and home. What are your thoughts on this?
I would like to experience that cocktail party vibe at some point in my life. So for the moment, I'd like it to stay, just so I can go out and experience it. Yeah,
that's an excellent choice. I'm team keep it in Jacksonville. John, I feel like you kind of go waiver. Where are you at right now?
I think that there should be a happy medium of both of these options, but because it's just mind-boggling to me that there are players that have never played. We have guys that have won back-to-back national championships and never played in Gainesville. Like, to me, that's just crazy.
They never played at Texas A&M either. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, true, so true. But I think that I guess the corollary there is, like, I wonder how Texas and Oklahoma feel, because they don't ever play on campus either, right?
Right. They play neutral.
But anyway, I feel like that the specialness of college football is its traditions, and this is technically more of a tradition of staying in Jacksonville. So if you pushed me on it, I would err on the side of keeping tradition, which would be to have it in Jacksonville. Which, if you look at the plans that they have for Jacksonville, it looks like that they're trying to build what Jacksonville once was. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, when was the last time you went to Jacksonville?
The last time I went?
I haven't been since college.
I went once after college. I have not been since 2005.
I went on an interview with CSX down in Jacksonville one time after college, and I went to the landing and I was like, what is going on?
Oh yeah, it was totally different. Well, I think the landing's gone now.
Yeah, exactly. Like
yeah.
the landing is what made the landing and the party atmosphere of Jacksonville made that game what it was, the largest outdoor cocktail party, right?
Right.
I feel like that the elimination of the landing kind of, I don't know, changed in my opinion. Maybe there's others out there that could, educate us on their more recent journeys down there. Because I think that the RV city or whatever, is still a thing down there too, which is also a unique experience. But anyway.
Yeah, that's still there. But yeah, the landing is gone to my knowledge. It has not been rebuilt. But we're going to find out in a couple of years with all the renovations they're making, because it's looking like it'll be home and home during the renovations like they did back in the 90s. So we'll get them in Athens, and we'll be in Gainesville at least once over the next, whenever that is. That's within the next few years. So we'll get to find out about that. So
let me tell you, dear listener, Kirby Smart will be out for blood in that home game.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well that's it for the listener questions, and that's it for Coach. Appreciate the bye week either or. Those were fun. And hey, nothing for Coach to track because there's no right or wrong here. Coach gets a bye week too. He doesn't have to track any answers.
That's true.
Love it. Well, Chris, man, it's been great chatting with you. Virtually again, it was definitely it was more fun getting to see you in person. That was awesome. I appreciate you taking your time and spending some quality time with us and all the folks. I know it was pretty fun just walking around and getting to see some of the experience through your eyes as well. So thanks for sharing some of that with us. It was fun.
No, thank you for having me on again. That absolutely flew by. I can't believe that's been over an hour and a half at this point.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
We are brevity is not our strong suit.
What is there anything that we didn't ask that you wanted to review?
I don't think so. Is there anything that you think we may have missed?
Maybe your thoughts on the season at large and upcoming games for UGA and just college football at large. What's your thoughts?
It's been a different season, hasn't it? I sort of feel like we are still waiting for everything to fall in place. As fun as the early months of college football are, we will see who champions are in November. So it's kind of all to play for. But in terms of Georgia, we're exactly where we want to be. That team is only going to get better for everything that they've experienced. I'm excited for the next few games to come.
Yeah. What is it they say? November is when you find out who's the pretenders and who's the contenders. So yeah, totally agree. So what about as we look forward? Is this an annual thing? What are we thinking?
I would love to make it an annual thing if I could. There'd be a few different factors financially and in relation to family.
Sure.
But do you know that sort of distance between the Kent State game last year and this game, it felt like time hadn't passed at all. Like I came and I was seeing the same people, and it felt like it just flashed by. So I would love to come as often as I could. Love it.
Well, we'll be here. We had this one circled on the calendar from the second we knew you were coming.
Large.
It loomed large. And it definitely delivered. It was a heck of a weekend. It was a blast.
Yeah, it was incredible. Mm-hmm.
Love it. Well, hopefully we're hopeful to get you back at a game next year, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fingers crossed.
We know it'll happen eventually, even if it isn't able to be annual. That makes sense. So It's awesome.
And you got to bring the missus next time.
Yeah.
Right. That's right.
Make it a family affair.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say, and then we'll have to as well, John. We didn't bring either of our misses either.
we just need her. We need her to accept it, and then he can build from there and build, Athens far east.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, JP, you have any parting thoughts for us?
I don't have any parting thoughts. We've heard his story.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe people that haven't heard it, brief synopsis or something like that. I don't know, but I figure if you don't know British Bulldog story at this point, then you're not paying attention.
I'll plug it this way. If you're listening and you haven't heard Chris's background of how he became a Georgia fan, we did do an episode last season. It's under the My God Podcast stories segment of episodes, and we dove in deep into your story and how you became a Georgia fan from afar, which is again pretty cool the way it happened and how you chose Georgia. So you can definitely go back into the podcast archives and find that one. Awesome. Well, Chris, been a blast having you on the podcast again. It was so great to see you in person a couple weeks ago, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
That sounds like a plan to me.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
All right. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.